In this video, we're going to take a look at inserting Smartart in PowerPoint 2016. I've got an empty slideshow. It's just got one title slide here by default. And before we go any further, I'm going to insert a new slide here. So let's go, and we're just going to choose title and content, but you can do this on any type of slide that you want to. I picked this one because it's one of the ones where PowerPoint gives you some options over here. These are not the only things you can put on a slide, but they are apparently the ones that Microsoft thinks you'll want to use most often. One of them is labeled Smartart, and this is also all up here on the Insert tab. You can get Smartart in either by clicking down here on the slide or by clicking up here on the ribbon. I'm going to click on the ribbon, and immediately we get a dialog box that is asking us to choose a Smartart graphic. And if you look at the size of the scroll bar over here, this is quite a long list. But we have subcategories over here, and if you click on a subcategory like list, for example, you see the scroll bar gets a whole lot longer, which means there's not nearly as much to choose from over here on the right side. So if you know ahead of time that you want a list, or you want a process, or you want a cycle or a hierarchy, you can just click on it and it will reduce the number of choices that you have. You know, these down here at the bottom don't have too many choices. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a list. And we've got a whole bunch of choices here. We're going to pick this one on the second row called the vertical box list. If you pause the mouse, the name of the list type will show up. So let's select that, and we're going to click on OK. And what you get by default is you get 3 separate items on the list here, but you can always add more or delete some of the existing ones. And at the same time over here on the left, you get a bulleted list, and the bulleted list corresponds to what's over here. So if I want to replace this with, say, item 1, and then go down on the next line here and type in item 2, the second bullet item corresponds to the second list item over here. And I can either edit the stuff over here on the left, or I can edit it over here on the right. I'm going to do it on the right this time. I'm going to type in item 3. And that automatically gets placed over here in my bulleted list. If I want to add another item like item 4, just go over here and hit enter and type item 4. And it will automatically shrink these down so that they fit. Another thing I can do is if I want to have a subordinate item in here, now if I hit enter, it assumes that I want another top level item, so it gives me 5 of those. But if I hit tab while I'm sitting over here on this second bullet, it will indent, which means this is a subordinate item to number 1, and so we'll just say this is item number 1A and hit enter, and it will leave the indentation level the same. This is going to be 1B, hit enter, 1C, and so on. And we'll go down here to item number 2. We'll add a couple of things under that as well. You got to hit the tab key to get that indentation level, and we'll call that 2A and enter, and 2B, and we'll leave it at that. If you don't want to see this over here, there's a little arrow here that's kind of faint, but if you click on that arrow, it will hide. And if the arrow is pointing back to the left and you click on it, it will reappear. Some other options. Once you've got the structure of your Smartart the way you want it, which we'll assume we've done now, I'm going to close this again, you can go up here and you can change the colors. We've got some theme colors, which really don't seem to have very much color in them. We've got some colorful options here, and then the rest of them, and there's a scroll bar here, so there's a few more a little bit further down. The rest of these all appear to be basically monochrome, and they just kind of change the level of the color a little bit. So I'm going to pick the pretty one up here, number 4 on the colorful, and that'll give me a bunch of different colors. And after I've done that, we've got a bunch of Smartart Styles up here, and you do get a live preview. So I'm just going to pause the mouse over each one of these briefly. And that is the default. And then if we add some different options here, or move the mouse over some different options here, we can get some changes in the way it looks. The structure is the same. The overall design is the same. What's going to happen is just some of the formatting and the colors. So this one gives it kind of a 3D effect. So does this one. Powder. And we got one that will turn it. If we click on the More button here, it we've got a bunch of options here. Some of them are, for some reason, it knows that these are the best matches for the document. And we've also got some down here that are labeled 3D because they take the list items and try to apply some kind of a 3D effect to it. If you have, let's go over here and let's insert a new slide. And we'll make this title and content again. And if you have a bulleted list, let's say item 1, 2, 3, and you decide you want to make it into Smartart, you can go the other way. You can take existing text and make it into Smartart. Just select the whole text box here by clicking on the edge with the 4-headed arrow, and the line will turn solid. When you click inside, it turns to a dotted line. It's a very finely dotted line, but there is a difference, and I'm going to click on it again. This may not show up on the video, but you can see it on your own monitor. I'm going to click on it again. Now I've got a solid line, and any formatting I do will apply to everything that's in here. If you click again and go back to the dotted line, now you can select individual things and format them individually. So this will give you more control over the individual items, but if you want to do the whole thing, which is something you'd probably want to do frequently, just click on the border up here like I've done again. So now what I want to do is I want to convert that into Smartart. So I'm going to go to Insert over here, and I'm going to go to Smartart, and I'm going to pick the same one I did before. We'll click on OK. And I'm going to have to take my stuff that I've already got here, and I'm going to, it's already a list, I'm going to cut it out, and then I'm going to go here and I'm going to click on this little arrow here, and I'm going to go over here and delete everything that's there and do a Control V and paste it in. So it doesn't have to be, you don't have to start from scratch. You can have something that's already in a list format and just copy the text into here, and Word will automatically convert it into Smartart for you. If after doing your Smartart, we've got Smartart Tools up here. We were looking at the Design tab before. There's also a Format tab up here. This stuff is not really unique to Smartart. This stuff applies to just about any kind of text in the document, so we'll skip over that for now. But you can go back here if you decide you want to change the Smartart to a different type. These are going to be other list layouts up here, and so we can go in and pick one, and if we decide we like that one a little bit better, we can just select it. If you want to change it completely to one of the other ones, click on More Layouts here, and it takes you back to this original, and you can check out Process and Cycle and all this other stuff, and if there's something that you think would be more appropriate, you can select it at that time. And that is everything that we're going to discuss regarding Smartart in PowerPoint 2016.